Welcome to another episode of Man Tips. This is the Memorial Day special. What I'm going to show you today is I have a Kasco pond aerator or fountain, whatever you want to call it, that is been damaged by what I suspect is turtles. So it's got two power sources, one that runs the motor, one that runs the lights. Both lines were visibly damaged and almost cut like you're using a pair of snips, and I'm thinking that's because that's a turtle's mouth. So the fountain wasn't working. Luckily for me, these parts were on the close to the electrical side, the termination side, and so I can actually repurpose the wires so I don't have to go buy a brand new wire. But I'll show you the fountain, which is this right here. That's a Kasco fountain. There's your Kasco box right there where it goes and gets terminated. So what I'll show you here is you got two cords. You got your, what I believe is your 220 and then your 120. What I did is I cut the end here and then I stripped it back about 8 inches or so. That's what it was on the other one, and this is going to be directly powered into the box over there. So it's going to come through the bottom. There's 3 terminations in there. So I'll show you how to do that. And that's for your motor. Your other line right here is for your power. And unfortunately with that one, I had to get rid of the plug. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to like the Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, and I'm going to buy a plug adapter because I don't want to have to splice this. I'd rather direct connect it to the plug and just plug it straight into the outlet. That way we're not worried about underwater cable and having a splice in it. I'm not that advanced electrically. But what this is going to do is going to save me money to buy a new power cord or a new fountain. You know, that's going to be very, very expensive. This should be probably about an $8 fix if I can get the head right. So already stripped back this wire here. Then you're going to want to strip each one of these individually. You just got to know your gauge of your wire. And get a tool like this. You go around, and I'm not going to show you how to cut every one of them, but I'll show you how to cut one. And then once you get it where you need, you just kind of work it off. And evidently I used slightly too big of a gauge cut. And that should do it. There you go. And what you're going to do here is you're going to twist these wires all together. And this would be your termination there. What I don't want to take the time to show you how to do every single one because clearly I'm not that efficient at it. And you don't have to be. But all you're going to do is you're going to expose, maybe 3/4 to 1 inch of wire right there so you make your terminations in your junction box. On your smaller gauge side, on your lights, you don't have to cut as much, so I'll show you a little bit here. You got a razor knife here. Normally like just go around. You don't want to go too far into it because you could be cutting the wires there. I didn't go perfectly around, so that's the other thing, is you really want to start and end at the same spot. I did not do that, so it's going to take a second longer to do this. But once you get a good split there, I said once you get a good split, so I haven't got it yet. Once you got a good split, it should just come off just like that. And now you see you got 3 wires. So you need to, when you're buying that replacement, you want one with the a ground in there because you do have a grounding cable right there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and strip all these wires. I'll show you how to plug in the 220. Now again, since I pulled this off, I have the breaker swap, so you do not want to ever touch a live breaker here, especially on 220. That will hurt. But I'll show you how to hook this up into the box right there. And then I'll show you how to put the new plug on here. And we'll get this fountain back working. All right, so we're back at it. So I took a picture of this before I took it off, so I'm going to just double check it. All right, so the black wire is going to land here, which should be number 4. You can see the pump right here is 4, 5. And then you'll land your white right here, and then your ground will come back in here. So you see how I have it? And it's going to be hard to kind of mess around in here a little bit. But you can see I fished the wires through. That's why you give yourself a little more slack. I want to get them all the way to the front so I can really mess with them. So again, I'll double check my picture one more time, so I'll go black on 4, white on 5. You can use a Phillips head screwdriver. I should have these already loose, and I think the one I tightened back up was the grounds. Yeah, so you get them nice. Yeah, so they're nice and loose right now. And we want to make sure it's nice and twisted. Want a good smash, and come back. That wire up in there. And tighten and get good connection. And you know you have good connection if you can't pull it down. So there. All right. Now I'll get my white onto the 5. The ground will be a little more tricky. I'm not going to show you that one on here just due to time. But you got 2 other ones that are in there with it. So they'll come out just a little bit more difficult. Get that white up in there. And once you get it kind of in there, it's tighten time. Yep, see, didn't tighten it well. All right, so I'm going to redo the white. I'm going to hook the green up, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so we're going to show you just one last time here. You can see that the 4 and the 5 have the white wire on the 5, the black wire on the 4, and the ground's now hooked up. So at this part, we're done in the junction box. We should be able to close it. Right now, you see the breakers are still set off. And that's cool. I'm going to turn the main breaker on, and then I'm going to come out here and use these to manipulate the fountain once I go to check it. All right, so we're back. We got this Leviton plug right here from Home Depot. If you look back here, you got like a brass or a gold. You got a silver and a green. Black goes on the brass. Green goes on the green. White goes on the silver. And what we'll try to do is you try to J-hook it around it. And then if you can get it in the direction where you're going to tighten, it'll help keep it there. So like it's almost like pulling it into it, which is good. So I'll show you what it looks like after. And you should take your time, twist these ends. You want this to be done right. You don't want to have a bad connection, have to pull this thing off again. So like this white one I put in, you see how it kind of frayed a little bit right there? You want to make sure you get that nice and tight. Get a good J around it. So then when you put it in, it's going to go pretty well. And I just need a little bit more of a J up and around it, just like so. And the final one is the green one. And once I get in there, I'll show you how to close this. But you're going to close it. You want the cord to be right here on the outside and shut, and it goes with a screw on the top. I'll plug it in, see if it works. All right, once we get it shut, find the screw. Right here, we're gonna go in the top. Screw this in nice and tight. Look, it looks like a brand new plug. All right, so I'm gonna get this in the water. I'm gonna go flip the breakers and we'll go do a test run live. Let's go. All right, the moment of truth. We're going to flip the breaker on. And we're gonna just turn the fountain on. And there we go. Man tips, presented by Color Small Time.